Okay, so you're here, which means you're ready to dive into the wild world of webinars.
Which, let's be honest, doesn't always have the most, shall we say, exciting reputation.
Yeah, webinar isn't exactly the first word that screams sexy marketing strategy, right?
Not unless you're already in the know.
Exactly. And our goal today is to get you in the know, to spill the tea on why webinars are a marketing goldmine, even if they seem a little, well, under the radar at first glance.
And who better to guide us through this deep dive than the webinar master himself, Jason Fladlien. This guy is a legend.
A straight-up webinar Jedi Master. And one of the things I love about Jason is he doesn't sugarcoat things. He tells it like it is.
Right off the bat, he says, webinars are hard. And that's what initially hooked me on his approach. Because, let's be honest, if webinars were easy, everyone would be doing them right.
And crushing it.
Exactly. But here's the thing. That's precisely why they're so darn effective. Because most people won't put in the work, they're intimidated by the challenge. But not us. We're here to uncover the secrets to webinar success.
And when we say success, we're talking about the kind of results that make your head spin. This is Jason Fladlien we're talking about. The man helped a company go from zero to, get this, $57.9 million in sales in just 226 days.
Hold on, rewind that $57.9 million. In less than a year.
You heard that right. And you want to know the secret sauce?
Don't keep us in suspense.
Webinars, my friend. Webinars were the backbone of that success story.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. But I have to admit, I'm picturing some super high-tech Silicon Valley startup using webinars to sell the latest gadget. Is that the kind of niche Jason works with?
That's the beauty of it. He doesn't. We're not talking about some fluke success story limited to one specific industry.
So it's not just for tech wizards and software gurus.
Nope. Jason's worked with everyone from, get this, trumpet players.
Trumpet players. Now that's specific.
To Taylor Swift's former manager.
Okay, you've officially blown my mind. From trumpet players to pop star managers, that's quite the range.
And everything in between. He's helped people sell music coaching, programs on overcoming addiction, you name it.
So what's the common thread? What makes webinars such a powerful tool for such a diverse range of niches?
It all boils down to this. If someone, somewhere, is trying to solve a problem online,
a webinar can be the answer.
You got it.
It's making me think differently about webinars already.
And that's what Jason is all about, challenging our assumptions and showing us what's truly possible. He uses this analogy that I absolutely love. He compares webinars to bringing water to the desert.
Okay, I can already tell I'm going to like this analogy.
Imagine you're parched, absolutely desperate for a drink, and someone shows up with exactly what you need. You're not going to nitpick the brand of the water bottle, are you?
Heck no, I'd guzzle it down in a heartbeat.
Exactly. It's the same with your audience. They're thirsty for a solution, for that aha moment that changes everything. So don't get bogged down in making your webinar absolutely perfect. Just focus on getting your message, your solution, in front of the people who need it most.
It's about the water, not the bottle.
You got it. And your first webinar doesn't need to be this big, flashy production. Think of it like this. Start with a simple water bottle. Get the basics right, then refine your design as you go.
That makes a lot of sense. You'll learn what works best for your audience along the way.
Exactly. So if we're picturing a desert and a thirsty crowd, who are we targeting with our first webinar? Whose thirst are we going to quench?
So we've got our audience in mind. We're ready to quench their thirst for knowledge. But first,
We got to figure out exactly who we're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
Not all thirst is created equal.
Exactly. Jason says for your first webinar, go for a small, laser-focused audience, and I mean laser-focused.
We're not talking about casting a wide net here, are we?
Not at all.
Yeah.
These are people who are so hungry for a solution to their specific problem that they're practically throwing money at the screen.
These are the folks who stay up late, Googling their problems, praying for a solution.
Those are our people. And because they're so targeted, so ready for a change, even a small webinar can have a massive impact.
Less is more in this case.
Exactly. It's like finding a hidden oasis in the middle of the desert. You don't need a huge, flashy billboard to attract those who are truly parched. They'll find you.
Now, this is where Jason introduces a concept that really piqued my curiosity. He calls it the Statue of Liberty Close.
Okay, Statue of Liberty close. I'm already hooked. What is it?
He's a little tight-lipped about the specifics at this point in the
A
presentation.
little bit of a tease.
Exactly. He knows how to keep us on the edge of our seats. But he promises to reveal it later. And let's just say it's designed to close deals and leave your audience feeling like they've hit the jackpot.
I can't wait. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's back up a bit and talk about the structure of Jason's webinars, because he has a very specific formula he follows.
A recipe for success.
Yeah.
And this is where things get really juicy, folks, so listen up. Jason lays out a surprisingly simple 7-part structure.
Oh, I love a good framework. Hit me with it. What are the 7 parts?
Okay, here we go. Hook, pain, excite, position, shift, transition, close.
Okay, I'm following along so far. But this is where most people just give you the bare bones, right? The what without the how.
But not Jason. He doesn't just tell you what to do. He gives you word-for-word scripts that you can use for each stage.
Now that is what I call valuable. Talk about a time saver.
Exactly. He calls them forkliftable because you can literally lift them right out of his presentation and plug them into yours.
Okay, I'm sold. So let's break down each of those stages, starting with the hook. What does Jason recommend to grab attention right out of the gate?
First impressions are everything. And Jason has some seriously clever hooks up his sleeve.
I bet. You only have a few seconds to capture someone's attention online before they click away.
Exactly. One of his go-to hooks is brilliant in its simplicity. He says, in our short time together today, my goal is to... And then he has the audience actually fill in the blank with their desired outcome.
Oh, I love that. So simple yet so effective. You're instantly getting them thinking about what they want to achieve and how you can help them get there.
Precisely. No vague promises, just a crystal clear understanding of the value you bring to the table.
It's like you're handing them a metaphorical microphone and saying, tell me your dreams.
Exactly. And Jason has tested these hooks extensively, so he knows what works. Another one he uses is called the fortune teller hook.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. A fortune teller hook. Tell me more.
It's so clever. Imagine this. Jason starts by saying something like, let's play a game. I'm going to pretend to be a fortune teller and you're my client.
Okay, I'm already hooked.
And from there, he paints a picture of their future, highlighting their current struggles and teasing a solution. It's playful, relatable, and instantly sparks their curiosity.
It's like he's giving them a glimpse into a crystal ball where all their problems are solved.
Exactly. And that glimpse makes them crave that transformation even more.
Okay, they're hooked, they're leaning in, ready for their fortunes to be told. What's next in this webinar journey?
Now it's time to dive into the pain section. And this is where Jason takes a bit of a counterintuitive approach, which, frankly, is what I love about his methods.
Counterintuitive. I'm intrigued. Most people want to jump straight to the solution, right? The feel-good, problem-solved, happy ending.
That's what you'd think, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Jason says that's a mistake.
Okay, so no skipping ahead to the good part. I'm listening. You see, most people aren't really motivated to solve a problem until they truly feel the weight of it.
It's like, yeah, that leaky faucet is annoying. But then you come home to a flooded basement and suddenly it's a 5-alarm problem.
Exactly. You don't call a plumber until the situation is dire, right? So Jason emphasizes the need to really dig deep into your audience's pain points, make them feel the cost of inaction, the consequences of staying stuck.
So we're not trying to bum them out, but we are trying to get real with them.
Exactly. Think of it like a good wake-up call, not to scare them, but to motivate them. Remember a time you knew you needed to make a change but felt stuck? Sometimes we need a little push to break free from our comfort zones, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable at first.
Makes sense. It's about highlighting the urgency of the problem so they're primed and ready for that solution.
Exactly. Jason talks about this idea of people support what they create. And in this context, it means helping your audience connect with the pain so that they are ready to embrace the solution. And then once they're feeling that discomfort, that's when you introduce the excitement of a brighter future. This is the excite phase of Jason's formula.
Okay, so we've hooked them, we've guided them through the problem, and now we're getting them excited about the possibilities. How does Jason approach this stage? I imagine this is where we break out the confetti cannons and laser light show, right?
Well, hold on to your hats, because Jason has a much more strategic approach. He uses a tactic called blind bullets to build anticipation and keep your audience engaged.
Blind bullets. It sounds a little dangerous, but also intriguing. Tell me more.
Essentially, you're teasing the amazing outcomes you've achieved or helped others achieve, but you're not revealing exactly how you did it just yet. Think of it like watching a movie trailer.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. You get those tantalizing glimpses of the action, the drama, the romance, but you have to watch the whole film to see how it all unfolds.
Precisely. It's all about creating that I need to know more feeling. You're piquing their curiosity, making them crave that how-to knowledge that you possess. It's about keeping them on the edge of their seats throughout your webinar.
Okay, I'm hooked. They're hooked, they understand the problem, they're excited about potential solutions. Now, we need to showcase ourselves as the guide who can lead them to the promised land.
Yeah, you got it. Positioning is crucial. Think about it. You're scrolling through endless webinars, all claiming to solve the same problem. Why should your audience choose you? What makes you stand out from the crowd?
It's about more than just having a solution. It's about having the best solution and making sure your audience knows it.
Precisely. Jason uses the example of Apple's iconic 1984 Super Bowl commercial to illustrate this point. That image of the woman throwing the sledgehammer at the Big Brother screen, pure marketing genius.
Oh, right. I remember that commercial. It was so powerful, even disruptive. But what made it such a game changer in terms of positioning?
That commercial instantly positioned Apple as the rebellious, the anti-establishment, the breath of fresh air in a world of stuffy corporate tech. In an instant, they became the cool kid everyone wanted to hang out with.
So how do we apply that same principle to our own webinars? How do we become the Apple in our industry?
It all comes down to highlighting what makes you uniquely qualified to solve your audience's problem. What's your unfair advantage? What unique experience, knowledge, or perspective do you bring to the table that no one else does? This is your chance to own your expertise.
Right. It's about showcasing your secret sauce, that special something that sets you apart.
Exactly. And once you've identified your unfair advantage, you need to communicate it in a way that makes your solution seem like the only viable option. Remember, you're not just selling a product or service, you're selling a solution to a problem they desperately want to solve.
It's not enough to just say, hey, I have a solution, right?
Yeah.
You need to convince your audience why yours is the best solution and why anything else is just a waste of their time and money.
You're getting it. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is by showcasing your results. And I'm not talking about small potatoes here. Think big, bold transformations.
So lots of testimonials, case studies, those kinds of things. Evidence that what you're offering actually works.
Absolutely. Testimonials and case studies are incredibly powerful, but Jason encourages us to take it a step further. He argues that people are often more persuaded by the success of others than they are by our own claims. It's about social proof. Seeing is believing, right?
That makes sense. We're more likely to trust a recommendation from a friend or someone we admire than we are a stranger's sales pitch.
Exactly. And this is where Jason's Statue of Liberty close comes into play.
Okay, you've been teasing this for a while now. We've got the hook, the pain, the excitement, the positioning. Now tell us, what is the Statue of Liberty close?
Well, Jason doesn't fully reveal his secrets in this particular presentation, but he hints at the power of framing your offer as a no-risk opportunity for the customer. He uses the Statue of Liberty as a metaphor, suggesting that just like Lady Liberty welcomes those seeking a better life, you should welcome those seeking a solution by taking on all the risk.
So we're talking about money-back guarantees, risk-free trials, that sort of thing, making it a no-brainer for the customer to give it a try.
Exactly. But Jason takes it a step further with what he calls a better-than-money-back guarantee. This is where you go above and beyond to eliminate any possible objection. For example, instead of just offering a refund, he might tell his audience that if they implement his strategies for 60 days and don't see results, he'll not only refund their money, but he'll also pay them for their time.
Wow. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. That level of confidence in your offer is almost impossible to resist.
Exactly. It plays on the psychology of reciprocity. When you make such a bold gesture, people are more likely to reciprocate by investing in your offer.
Okay, so we've positioned ourselves as the go-to solution, offered an incredible guarantee that eliminates any risk. What comes next?
Now it's time to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Those pesky, limiting beliefs that might be holding your audience back from taking action.
Yes. We all have those inner voices of doubt, the what-ifs that can keep us stuck. How do we help our audience silence those voices and move forward with confidence?
This is where the shift comes into play, and it's all about reframing your audience's perspective. You see, often people get overwhelmed by the perceived magnitude of their goals. They fixate on that huge, daunting end goal, and it paralyzes them.
So how do we help them move beyond that feeling of overwhelm? How do we make it feel doable? It's the difference between staring up at Mount Everest and taking that first step, right?
You're exactly right. It's easy to get lost in the enormity of a big goal. That's where Jason's shift technique comes in. Instead of focusing on that massive, potentially overwhelming end goal, he encourages us to break it down into bite-sized, achievable wins. So instead of saying, hey, follow my system and you'll be a millionaire in a year, you might say, implement this one strategy and watch an extra $100 roll in this week.
It's amazing how much more doable something feels when you shift your focus from that overwhelming enormity to those smaller, more immediate wins.
Exactly. It's all about momentum, and those small wins are like rocket fuel. They build confidence and make the journey feel exciting, not exhausting.
Okay, so we've shifted their perspective, helped them overcome those initial hurdles. What's the next step in Jason's winning webinar formula?
Now, it's time for the grand finale, the close. But here's where Jason really throws a curveball. Most people see the close as this separate, scary thing, but Jason says it's all about the setup. Think about it like a comedian delivering a joke. What's a punchline without a well-crafted setup?
A flop. It's all about building to that moment of truth, creating an irresistible path to the close.
Exactly. And Jason has a whole arsenal of transition techniques to make the close feel like a natural next step. One that he highlights in this presentation is called the two choices transition.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does this two choices transition actually work in a webinar?
Picture this. Jason might say something like, "You see, before this presentation today, I was faced with one of two choices. I could go this way or that way." Then he'll elaborate on those choices. One is the path of inaction, staying stuck with the problem. The other, the path to success, which, of course, involves investing in his solution.
So he's not even explicitly mentioning the product yet, but he's framing the decision in a way that subtly nudges them towards the solution.
Exactly. It's all about subtly guiding your audience, not bombarding them with a hard sell.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, once we've set the stage with the two choices transition, we move on to the actual close, right?
You got it. But remember, Jason doesn't believe in just making one offer and calling it a day. He encourages multiple closes, addressing different objections and decision-making styles along the way.
It's like he's anticipating every possible reason someone might hesitate and proactively addressing it before they even have a chance to voice their objection.
Exactly. He calls this the new insight, new decision principle. Essentially, every time you offer a fresh piece of information or a different perspective, you give the listener another opportunity to make a decision.
So instead of just hitting them with one buy now message, we're providing multiple opportunities for them to say yes throughout the webinar.
Precisely. And because webinars aren't limited by time in the same way as, say, a traditional sales call, you have the space to breathe, to elaborate, to truly connect with your audience and their needs.
That makes so much sense. It takes the pressure off trying to cram everything into a tiny window of opportunity. You can really take your time and let those new insights land with your audience.
Exactly. And the best part is, Jason gives you all the tools you need to succeed. He provides a treasure trove of forkliftable closes, names like the footprints close, the newborn baby close, the moral obligation close, each one tailored to address a specific objection or decision-making style.
It's like having a whole toolkit of persuasive techniques at your fingertips. No need to reinvent the wheel, just choose the right tool for the job.
Exactly. Jason emphasizes that the real magic happens when you understand the psychology behind these tactics. It's like learning to fish instead of just being handed one. Once you grasp the why behind the what, you can adapt and implement these strategies in a way that feels authentic to you and resonates with your audience.
This deep dive has been an absolute goldmine of information. I feel like I've gone from webinar newbie to, well, maybe I can actually do this in the span of a few minutes.
I hear you. But remember, we've only scratched the surface of what Jason covers in his full presentation. He goes into much greater depth, providing specific examples, word-for-word scripts, even sharing the actual slides he uses in his webinars.
So if you're ready to take the plunge and become a webinar master, Jason's full presentation is your next step. It's your blueprint for success.
And remember, it's not just about memorizing tactics. It's about understanding the psychology of persuasion, connecting with your audience, and offering solutions that truly resonate.
It's about building relationships, building trust, and ultimately building a business that thrives. That's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of webinars. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and maybe even a little inspiration to launch your own webinar empire.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.